teaching that his ways should be our ways. His system should be our system. Because God has his ways of doing things. For instance, if men say, come through this door, and God said, come through this door, he does not judge you by coming through this door. He judges you by coming through this door. How do I mean? If you come through this door, even though you have entered, you are still wrong before him. Like we said the other day, we go beyond result, we go for approval. And the approval we're talking about is not approval of men. The Bible said Jesus, a man approved among men by God with what? Signs and wonders. So that is God putting signature that this thing you are doing is by my own instruction. The other day, Moses said, if what I'm doing is the way God asked me to do it, he said, let ground open and swallow all of you. And the ground opened and swallowed all of them. That was God saying, what you are doing is the way I showed you. The other day we saw in the scripture, the Bible said when you are building the tabernacle in the wilderness, make sure you build it according to the pattern shown you on the mountain. I gave you pattern. So the tabernacle in the wilderness, that's the movable tent in the wilderness, was built according to the pattern in heaven. So God was the architect that drew the architectural plan, or whatever you call it, both the structural plan, architectural plan, or electrical, whatever, all designed by God. God said, when you are building it for me, if it must be accepted by me, you must do it the way I want. The book of Matthew chapter 6 verse 30 through 33. I see, if it's King James, we only take 33. But if it's Message translation, we in chains. We start from 30 to 33. Message translation. He said, what I am trying to do here is to get you to relax, to not be preoccupied with getting, so you can respond to God's giving. Next verse 32. People who don't know God and the way he works. So God's ways of doing things, that is what is called righteousness. If God says sit here, he gives you direction on how you come. Even if you sit here and you did not follow that direction, you will still not get approval from him. Yes. Moses struck the rock when he should be speaking to the rock. Water still came out, but God denied him promised land. God said, you did not do it my way because you did not represent me well. Because righteousness is God's way of God's ways of doing things. That's God's perspective of judgment. The way God judges is not the way man judges. Sometimes when men condemn, God accepts. Sometimes when men write you off, God writes you in. The reason why you must walk with him with this understanding is because he said, come and learn of me, for my yoke is easy, my burden is light. When you come to him, you learn. He said, those who don't know God and the way he walks, they fuse over these things. So they chase, there's a way they live their life. They chase things. But you that know both God, look at it, both God, not just to know God. There's a difference between knowing him and to know the way he walks. You can know God and still be stranded on it. But you will make heaven. Jesus in you, the hope for glory. You won't go to hell. You will make heaven. But in this world, you will suffer and smell. Because his blessing is tied to the way he walks. God's ways of doing things. Come and learn of me. When you learn of me, then the yoke will be easy. The burden will be light. If you don't learn of me, you'll be struggling as though I do not exist.